partnering with Councillor Tiawan Gongloe. Good morning to all of you out there. It's wonderful to be here again on this lovely Tuesday morning. Yeah, with another PMD. We're driving you through. And you can rest assured, we are keeping our foot on the accelerator or
we're making sure that we drive you.
Yeah, we're driving you safely.
Yeah, we're driving you safely.
Make sure you're wearing your seatbelt.
You don't have to worry. We're driving safely. And so
I hope you have brakes. We got good brakes.
There we have very good brakes. Very good brakes. And so we've been joined by Councillor Tiawan Saye Gongloe. Today I'm not. Today you will remind me. And so ahead of us, after Councillor Tiawan Gongloe, we'll be playing host to Imam Ali Kraye. That's at 9:15. So in between time, we have some time to say out some very important information to you out there. But just before we can go over to Councillor Tiawan Gongloe, Saye Gongloe, we'd like to emphasize that the Daily Dollar Dash, we want to apologize. We had technical problems from yesterday. I know a lot of you called in and talk about experiencing some technical glitches. And so that has been sorted out. And so we are here today to say to you that we have $10,000 for 4 persons, courtesy of Radio Entertainment Liberia in collaboration with Prime FM. That's exactly what they do every day on this show on weekdays, Mondays to Fridays, in between 8 o'clock to 12 midday. In between 8 o'clock. The first phase is in between 8 o'clock to 12 midday. So what you need to do is to text to a *799#, *799#. The first rule of engagement is that you must have a Lone Star Cell NTM SIM card. It is only Lone Star Cell that is applicable to this entire program. So rule number 1 is that you must have an NTM SIM card, you must have a number. 2 is that you must have subscribed with mobile money, or you must have mobile money in your phone, and then you must have at least $100 Liberian or 70 US cents to be able to play. The more you play, the better your chances to win. The more you play, the better your chances to win. So all the talking, all of the information we'll be giving out, all you need to do is to just text to *799#. *799# is what we do. And then before 12 midday, we'll be able to say out who the winners are.
Yeah,
and so that's it, right?
We gave away $10,000 in the morning to 4 different winners. And in the afternoon, between 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock, we gave away another $10,000. So every day, Prime FM is giving you $20,000 every day. So just be part of the Daily Dollar Dash. Follow all the instructions Kelvin gave you, and then you can be a lucky winner.
We read you this very important announcement dated on yesterday, August 7, 2023, and it says here, this is to announce that with grief and sorrow the sudden demise of Mr. David Cooper, a resident of Mamba Point, Gibson Avenue, Monrovia, Liberia. The late Mr. David Cooper passed out on Monday, August 7, 2023, at the precise hour of 2:30 a.m. at the John F. Kennedy Memorial Hospital. The late David Cooper passed out due to protracted illness. The mortal remains of the late Mr. David Cooper will be taken to the Wiala Cemetery on August 8th, that's on today, for interment at 11 o'clock a.m. This announcement was brought in by Dr. Ujit Saj Sadiva, Elias Jetty, signed this all-important announcement. So he's asking all of the family members, friends, and loved ones who are attached to the late David Cooper to form a part of the interment or form a part of the funeral rites. And so that's it right there. We've been joined by Councillor Tiawan Saye Gongloe. Today is day 4 into their national campaign, and so we look forward to what message or messages he has for the people of Liberia as during the earliest start of our campaign. This is Prime FM 105.5. This program is relayed on Prime FM Monrovia 105.5. Prime FM Monrovia 105.5. You can share the page.
That's our Facebook.
Yeah, that's our Facebook page. Yeah. So you can share it also. Councillor Gongloe's page too as well. Oh, you can swim. Yeah, I mean.
I swim and float.
Sorry, 1 second.
I swim and float.
You what?
I swim and I float.
What's going on? Okay, go ahead. Good morning.
I'm able to ladder in the water for
30
minutes without shaking.
I was stoned. Trojan, did you see it?
No, I didn't see.
Oh no, you have to take. Yeah.
Somebody was teaching me that thing, but
I can actually not.
Yeah, he lied for minutes, and then
someone.
I realized that he's sweating not to swivel his arms, from one angle to the other. Of the
He exercises, so.
I'm an exercise teacher. I'm a coach.
Oh, okay. So. When did you get to learn how to swim?
Oh, 1990. I was in my 30s.
Oh, wow.
1990. You can learn how to swim now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was in Banjul. I was at Cllr Hotel and waiting there, the interim government, to come to Liberia. And I used to go to the swimming pool and swim at the fringes of, just walk at the stream. And then 2 elderly women from Holland came in and said, "We've seen you here 2 days and you don't swim." I stand like fire water.
Oh, really?
So 2 of them helped me to taught me into swim. And on one day I learned to swim. I never left water. It's
wow,
so good. It's big exercise and it's so relaxing as well.
Let me use this time to say happy fallen on behalf of Prime FM. Happy belated birthday. We're told that day was your birthday.
That's how I celebrate on my birthday, to keep healthy.
What pool was it? Your pool?
No, not mine. There's a Bash. Bash is
Bash,
Marshall,
right? Yeah, in Marshall.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay.
No, the Bash.
Wow, you had a nice time.
Yeah.
Cold water.
Yeah, it was early in the morning, so people were not around, so I enjoyed the pool.
So you turned how?
67.
67.
But I feel like I'm 30 years.
And you exercised like you?
I did 105 push-ups that day.
105 push-ups?
105.
Kelly
and then I did
20.
And I did 30 sit-ups.
Kelly can I do 20 push-ups.
Well, talk about yourself.
Oh, my birthday, I can do that.
I
would do that on my birthday.
So you talking about the thing you know about me talking, that's what you're
that's what I'm talking about. You know, at times like I would drag him out to go and even exercise, to practice. I would drag him, relatively drag him out. So,
well, the good news is exercise is good. Because I'm 67 and I've not slept in a hospital before.
Really?
No.
No operation? Nothing?
No operation, nothing.
Wow.
The only time I spent time in the hospital was fighting for journalists and political activists, people who speak, and poor people. Under Taylor, when I was jailed, I was detained one night and tortured severely and spent 7 nights in the hospital at SD Cooper Hospital. Besides that,
with age at 67, Councillor Gongloe, if you do not win these elections, will you contest in 2029?
I'm not sure of that. I want to enjoy my old age. I'm not sure of that.
Some of your
Can you imagine I will be, next election I'll be 73?
73.
I'll be taking time with my grandchildren,
Joseph
researching and writing.
Joseph Baga is almost 18.
Well, you know, that's his choice, but I want to enjoy my old age. Presidency is stressful. I worked with the president when I was in my early 30s. And I know we used to be writing speeches sometimes 3 o'clock in the morning, preparing for an ECOWAS meeting or it is not a retirement job.
Wow.
It is a tough job. And even then, it was tough. You know,
you with former President Salim?
No, I think.
Even with President Salim.
Soil.
We used to meet at President Salim's hospital at 11 o'clock in the night on some crucial issues when I was Solicitor General. So it's not a presidential job. It's not an effective president. Is not a president who thinks that that's a place to rest. Because in the president of Liberia, we don't have a parliamentary system where the president is a ceremonial president and then you have prime minister running the government. The president of Liberia is also head of government. Tough job.
You know, people like you are taught to ask you other questions on the sidelines of our conversation. It is important because these are the things we hear. There are some of us who believe that, you know, people like you should be resting, should serve as advisory council, elders of our lands, and should not be contesting into these elections because, like you rightly intimated, it's a huge task. It's a workaholic, and you need energy too. Do you think at your age and similar to that of Mr. Boakai, people like you should be endeavoring into these kinds of offices?
You know, I'm a different person because of the way I keep myself physically fit. But at 66, you know, the Liberian people, the military killed President Tubman at 66. This is when President Tubman died. He was endeavoring to retire at 69. He had said, look, in 1983, I wouldn't run again. So I'm asking True Party and the other people to organize to hold the election. But you can manage in the 60s and early 70s, but I don't care how determined you may be mentally, physically, your body will not agree with you to continue. No question about that. But I feel physically fit for, I say 105 push-ups and doing all this. Keeps me strong. I saw a Chinese man who was 106 years old and was still running. Yeah. So
Joe Biden of America.
Yeah, he's managing, but sometimes falling off. Sometimes it's tough. You know, to be even there are some president of Zimbabwe, what's his name, the one who died, Mugabe. It was tough. And right now, the Cameroonian president, he's just there. It is actually, most of our presidents have been young, in their 40s. President Tubman was, I think, 44 or 45. Yeah, 49 when he became president. So it is a job that requires you to have energy to do. There's no question of that. But the way Liberia is right now, there is a need for someone who has good sense of history and knows a little bit of some of the better times. There are great times. You know, the past governments had their own faults, like three-party government. But I know some things, a lot of things worked. The police worked in this town in the 70s. You know, the garbage disposal system worked well. I said they all worked. We used to see motor vehicles cleaning the town with electric brooms, and sweeping the streets. I mean, washing the streets of Monrovia even in the late 60s. So the sense of keeping Liberia clean was there. Even the villages, inspectors used to come. If the people don't brush the roads out between two towns, the township is fine. So there was a sense of obligation and taking responsibilities seriously. We need to get Liberia back on track. Look, you go to the ministries, people are not working. You're sitting there. You know, you need to put this country to work. And I think that's the kind of thing that I would like to bring back.
Someone told me, and I was...
And before I conclude, for you to say, read, I think it's the In Profile, one of those papers of yesterday. A fellow I work with at Labour Ministry actually wrote an article, the Tiawan Gongloe I know. You see the president, I am.
We'll follow that up. But back in the 70s, when the progressives, you know, I hear you usually make reference to the late Dr. Saye. You say you work with him. Back in the 70s when he was in his political movement, he also had this broom sweeping.
I know the broom started, 1979.
And that's why I wanted to bring it back.
Saye for mayor campaign. Mm-hmm. That's when we talk about the broom to clean up Monrovia. Yes, Monrovia was being clean, but we know that Basel Community and other places where we started needed more cleaning. So the issue of cleanliness, true, has been an issue ever since. Right? But cleanliness of physical dirt, but also cleanliness in terms of running government that will work for everyone. And that's why Saye was the founding chairman of LPP. So the broom came from Saye for mayor campaign to becoming the symbol of the Liberian People's Party. Yeah.
I knew it came. Yeah, that's
okay. So because of time, let's go straight into the core issue.
So the
campaign.
You know, I've told Liberia people I have a 10-point agenda for better Liberia, and I hope that now we'll just focus on what we intend to do for the Liberian people, so that they look at our ability, our track record, and either believe or disbelieve us, instead of doing things like carrying casket or insulting each other. I really appeal to all in this election to maintain a peaceful posture. We have no choice. We cannot make the people afraid and nervous so that they start going into exile and say, let me go after the election, I'll come back. But so I have 4 core things that I want to do for Liberia, to change Liberia's story. Education, number 1. I strongly believe that no child should be left behind in this country. So in my 10-point agenda, we have free education for children from kindergarten to 12th grade.
Free education?
Yes. Providing copybooks, pens, textbooks, food, and everything.
In public schools?
Public schools. Public schools. And we build more public schools. In time past, even where government did not have buildings to have public school, government rented building. Hector Baker was a private building. Ellie Scarborough was a private building. Susan Berry, private building. Monrovia Central High, private building. It is government's obligation to educate the children of Liberia. I think Article 6 of the Constitution says it is the responsibility of government. So the private schools, the one run by the missionaries and the private individual, are actually helping government. And that is why in time past, on top by even on government used to subsidize the private schools, pay some of the teachers, give them money in the budget so they can help government fulfill its obligation to the people. So we have free education in private schools. We eliminate illiteracy in 2 years by paying stipend to students from 7th grade to college level to teach at least 10 persons in a community every day who have never been to school. We have free technical and vocational schools for skill training for high school dropouts, high school graduates. Free.
Vocational school.
In the 15 counties.
Free.
Free. Yes, free.
Okay.
We'll find the money in the budget to do it. Government has money. We'll have pregnant women. Liberia is among the 10 countries in the world that report the highest death among pregnant women. So we have...
Record shows it is improving.
Yeah, but that's where we are. So it is improving, but when you go to JFK, they give you a prescription. That helps to not to, get them. So pregnant women, children under the age of 5, and all Liberians 65 years, people like me, we have free medical treatment in government clinics and hospitals.
Pregnant women.
Children under the age of 5.
Children under the age of 5.
And Liberians 65 years
65 and above. Free health care.
Yes. At government
clinics. Then food production, rice production, meaning we will have tractors, all machines for growing rice will be distributed among farmers through the farmers cooperatives in the 15 counties to grow rice, so that we can have rice farm, you have rubber farm, like Cocopa, the Salala rubber, the Kavala rubber, in all of the countries, because the only way to reduce the price of rice and to have it available in this country is to grow more rice on this fertile soil we have. I'm talking about all the countries growing rice. I have something revolutionary too. We'll have the army, we'll commit the army as commander-in-chief. I will order the army to grow not less than 100 acres of rice in each of the 15 counties using machines led by the agricultural battalion, supported by the engineering battalion of the army.
So that's 3 things then.
And then the 4th one,
education, health, agriculture. What's the 4th one?
The 4th one is road. Road connectivity, especially farm to market roads, so that the farm goods can come to the market. But more than that, maintenance of the main roads and also farm to market roads. We will keep gradually paving the roads of Liberia. But even in America, I've been to America many times, not all of the roads are paved, but they have to be maintained so that people move up and down, because freedom of movement is a right of the citizens. It is an obligation of the government to guarantee freedom of movement, which is being violated right now. Because to move from Tapetana to Zwetru, you got to have a very strong Toyota Land Cruiser Jeep. But once you pass Zwetru, you now have to have motorbikes to go to other parts of southeastern Liberia. And then bad roads really increases poverty. Because, mind you, you have your planting farm in Webo or Putu, and then you want to come to Monrovia, and then you get stuck on the highway for 10 days. Your planting gets rotten, or your bitter ball gets rotten. You go back getting poorer because your whole year was wasted. And maybe you even borrow money from somebody to pay for the truck, so you get poorer. That's how bad rule it promotes poverty. And so the level of poverty in the country now is so high. Let me say a little bit. So, and I'm saying it based on my experience. I grew up in Tapeta. There was a polio warrior in Tapeta. There were one in Petu. There were one in Ganta. Then when you pass Ganta, you go to Zredru, you get one in Tota, to maintain the road between Tota and Tapeta.
Doing all weathers, all seasons.
Yes, all seasons. Look, 1979, when our chair was still, I think, 11th or 12th grade student at
being the current.
Yeah, I was a third-year student at the university, and we belonged to this Cllr organization called YCS, and I was the national president, so I wanted to do some extension work. And after my work in July 1979, I took taxi from downtown Hapo, 6 o'clock in the morning. By 9 p.m. on the same day, I was in Monrovia. It can't happen these days. Today, our chair, the president pro tem, and the speaker passed through Ivory Coast during this time to go to their counties.
And the speaker was mad about that, though.
Why would he be mad? Mad about what?
He was mad he had to pass through Ivory Coast because the road is bad.
That's mind-boggling. He should provide the budget. He approved the budget. He's the speaker. It's the legislature that approved the budget for the government to run. Mad with himself for negligence of duty? That's strange.
Okay, let's go to the other issue because of time.
So the thing, and the other thing I want to say really about health as well, is that under my administration, government clinics and hospitals will be better than private hospital and clinics because of monitoring and compliance. As president, I'll go for medical checkup to JFK. After JFK, 2-3 days surprise visit to JJ Dawson Hospital in Kepamus. I want to tell me, Mr. President, when you get there, when you get medicine, I'll fire the head. Then you don't enjoy my will and pleasure anymore. Because if a clinic or hospital is not good for any citizen, then it's not good for the president too. I will not be traveling abroad or paying for anybody to go abroad, like how Minister Cllr, who said 14 military was state of the art and one of the better medical facilities in West Africa. As we can see in Liberia, God moved from behind. Accident. Instead of going to 14 military, he went to Turkey, he and his wife. We would not do that. Because that kind of thing undermines trust in the government. But
some of these, Counselor, if you are the president, some of these could be referred by the very doctors. What will you do if you do not have that existing, health system?
So we would do that. We will bring the best doctors here. Look, JFD, when Dr. Katie was there, I went there, I was lawyer for JFD at one point. They were really, really trying from the beginning. They had
JFD. What is JFD?
JJ Dawson?
No. Justin Hospital. Tapeta. What Dr. Katie had done at that time was to make an arrangement to bring retired medical experts from America who are retired. And they have a big campus there. And they were there, he was even trying to put a tennis court.
Oh, he brought them?
Yeah,
he
brought them.
Yeah, because they have a big complex residential place right behind the president.
Right. So he brought them there, and some of the best medical experts for him, but they are retired, and in their retirement they wanted to contribute. So the thing is, they were getting their retirement money, and in Tapeta that's a lot of money. They were living well and contributing. So we can do that. We can bring experts there. We can bring the machine. At that time, the CT scan, there was only one operator. That's what the government, the young man told me, Counselor, I'm tired. I'm the only one that the government trained to operate the CT scan.
Wow.
He said, so what if something happens to me, and I get tired? So we need to correct those kinds of things, Right here in Liberia, when JFK was the best in West Africa, we can bring the medical equipment, we can bring the experts here.
Let me just ask this, going back on your plans about education and of course health. You are aware the way our budget works, how we go about making projections, and then we have to collect the money before spending the money. I'm sure you're aware of that, and you're also aware that our budget, I mean our constitution sets aside a certain percentage of the budget towards education, which has, in my lifetime, have not been met, 20% or so. Now, here you are making big promises about free education, free health care, and all of those. Where do you get the money from? And I want you to make this commitment. How long will it take you to start implementing these things if you're elected? Is it going to be right after you're elected, and you're going to do your inauguration speech, say beginning today, this and this will be free, or that and that, or is it going to be after 2-3 years? What exactly do you start?
So there are some things we need to do that are in a 10-point agenda. Rule of law sets the atmosphere for socio-economic development. Right now, our police system is broken down. Our judiciary has problem. We need an independent judiciary. Every actor, even the judicial sector, including past chief justices, that talk about corruption in the judiciary, which undermines rule of law. The police, because too much interference on police, our Solicitor General, I know sometimes, and even after that, some ministers will call directly through different people and intimidate. If the police does its work as it does in Rwanda or America, where when you, for example, commit a traffic offense, well, let me say me, former government official, or let me say a minister, I commit a traffic offense, I get the same ticket that you would get, or that a janitor would get. Rule of law, settled. And so I'll issue 2 executive orders immediately, one to protect the integrity of the judiciary, the independence of it, and the other one, the police. I mean law enforcement, I say police, I mean immigration, just law enforcement. Anybody you minister, you interfere with police operation, you are fired in the government. Therefore, no compromise. Once I know the fact, the basic fact that you actually interfere with police operation, you are fired. Because when we do that, you enter the country, immigration receives you well, consistent with law. They're not filling your forms here and there, and you enter the city, and the police is operating where traffic is moving. You want to come back. That helps tourism. That helps everything. So we do that. Education, we rent private buildings to get every child to go to school. We do that. Education cannot be delayed.
But you already have existing buildings. Why do you need to rent private? The ones that we have, they're oversized, I think. Except that maybe we are not utilizing, and we are not really attractive.
Look at Monrovia. Basatin used to be there. It's now a motor vehicle
complex. Yeah.
So that means -1.
The showroom for, I think, Renault.
So there are not many schools. There are no Monrovia Central in town. It used to be private building when you have connects. That's where Monrovia Central used to be. So we need to, then we have, government has this housing bank that was being built, right? It's empty. It's not being used.
You mean the one in Waterside?
No, right here. On Ashmore Street. Right by fire service.
Okay, yeah, you're
that was government investment. Can we fix that building and use it to absorb students in Central Monrovia?
Yeah, that can house a lot of money.
So if you take out the private schools in Monrovia, CWA, BDRS, and all of the places, you don't have schools.
You still have not told us, how do you get the money? Because other what you
so let me tell you now.
You need the money.
The money.
Yeah, we are.
Our problem not that we don't have the money. It's allocation of money. And I'd like to give the example. Last year budget, the President Pro Tem total salary was $254,000 annual salary. That's beside the $30,000 that they were giving them. All right, the legislative engagement fund. Look at this. Contrasted with the salary of the President Pro Tem of the United States Senate, he made last year $103,000, which means the President Pro Tem of this begging nation made more than $60,000 above the annual salary of the President Pro Tem of the United States Senate. Does it show to you that we don't have money? Our problem is where we put our money. The money should be used for social services. So under my government, small, let's say this is the budget, just small portion will be used for the big shots in the 3 branches of government. A large portion of the budget, more than 60%, will be used for social services.
Give us a picture of your office, your budget. Yeah. What are the things you want? What are the things you will?
So I will cut down foreign travels. It has to be a very important travel that would benefit Liberia. You know, Ofe Bane used to do it. He said, oh, I will go to certain places. At certain places, he used to delegate. Even Gerald Rollins used to send Ibn Chimbas, who was Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, to ECOWAS meeting in Yamoussoukro, where I will go. They already have a government position on the peace process, or Banjul, or anywhere. So because when President traveled, this expenditure is high. You get all these security and different people. So you cut down. When a minister travel, maybe minister and one assistant, or even minister alone can travel. So you can cut down foreign travel. And then, you know, cut down a lot of other things. And live, you know, cut down.
Cutting down the travel is one thing, but the size of the delegation?
Cut down the size of the delegation. And cut down, you know, I'm telling you, we will cut down waste in government.
Talking about cut down the size of the government as well. I mean,
and the size of the motor vehicle. I mean, the motorcade. Look, President Tubman used to enter I was on university campus when President Tubman was president. 1977, I was a student on the campus, living in the campus, and the man was so disciplined. He used to live in Bensonville, and he used to come to the mansion for work. He said people should go to work on time. 7:30, the 3-car convoy will be entering the executive mansion. 8 o'clock, you will organize work. 9 o'clock, you start patrolling the town to different ministries. First ministry, you go to education. You're not there, you are fired. Because you're supposed to stand up for the young people.
Okay, so under President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, before she became president, even after she said she wanted a small but effective government, but later on it grew very big before she left. President George Weah came with you know, wanting to operate a government that everybody would be on par when it comes to salary. Nobody
harmonization.
Harmonization. Making everyone doing the same job. What would be your own strategy? Because after Ellen, the government, the size of people working in the government is very huge. So most of what we get from our budget goes towards recurrent, you know, expenditure. So
my strategy is to create millionaires outside government. That would be Liberian businesses. Government will give preferential treatment under my government to Liberian businesses. Construction, the one that are selling, government will be doing purchases. Now, government that makes business people rich. And in every country, good governments do emphasize the money staying in the country by supporting their own business people. I will not have millionaires inside government. And so I'll take stringent, you don't have to be in government. We'll take stringent steps. When we decide to act in the interest of the people by cutting salaries of the people, hire people, not civil servants, not nurses, not doctors, teachers, and law enforcement officers, but the politicians, the people at the top level. They get so much of the money in terms of the salary, we cut it down. Harmonization did not affect the top. That's why the president pro tem will be making $254,000 in 1 year when the civil servant salaries are dropping every month. They tell you, oh, the money I got last month was more than the one I'm getting this month. They don't know. We will protect the people who really do the job, the civil servants, the teachers, the nurses, the doctors, the law enforcement officers who spend all of that, and make them respectable, buy their uniforms, make them look respectable. When you see some police officers when they're talking to you, you can't have respect for them. In time past, police officers were well dressed. You know, law enforcement and discipline, the way you look at everything. So we'll do that. And we'll take the money from the budget. We'll also make the bishops pay their taxes on their homes. If government was really making everybody to pay on property taxes here, some people will not have, be in government, be having 5, 6, 7-story buildings. You know,
we may not be able to absorb all of what you have because of time, but there are folks out there listening to what are your plans for the disabled, the disadvantaged.
So, very good point. And let me say, somebody asked me a question yesterday on Hot FM from Granta. What are you going to do with the visually impaired? I have an answer. In my 10-point agenda, I'm looking for equality and equity. I'm saying, look, if I have 20 ministers, 10 will be women, 10 will be men. And they will include the marginalized population. That means the physically challenged, including the visually impaired. I've seen a real life example. When our Minister of Labor, my colleague from Lesotho, was a blind man.
Wow.
Yes. And because, you know...
The Lesotho Labor Minister?
Yes, was a blind man. We met the first time in Burkina Faso. And I said, you're a blind man, you minister, because, Liberia and Lesotho sit next to each other. And he said he was a labor union leader in his country. And the prime minister appointed a labor minister. And he was a very effective labor minister. I checked behind. So we can, I have a visually impaired friend in Nimba who is a primary chief of your district, Franklin Toy. And he has this very intelligent way of expressing the condition. He said, Councillor Gongloe, disability is not inability. It is true. Some of the people who are disabled are more productive than those of us who have everything. Like the Joshua, the law student that just graduated, I taught him 3 courses, he made A's in all 3. And the people who were already were making C's and B's. So, we will have places. We will also make sure that all government buildings are built in such a way that the accessibility for people who are physically challenged become easy. It's happening in most countries, but I don't see it here. How can they climb the stairs? So we have to have escalator and other things to make it easy for physically challenged people to also enter. Those who are going in a wheelchair and things to be able to.
That is, you must make LEC stable first. Before you have a lot of people with issues. Can you stop up?
That's why I don't take elevator. Easy. So we need to do all of them. Those are challenges.
In Liberia, you don't trust it.
In Liberia, I don't trust it. In other countries, I do.
I know.
Yeah. So we have escalated at the airport. It is beautifying. So I strongly believe that this country is able to work for everybody, as long as we make the broom to sweep corruption from government. Broom is a sign of unity. One broom is easy to break. This one string. One broom cannot sweep effectively. United is difficult to break, and is effective in sweeping. So we will sweep corrupt people from government. Corrupt people belong in jail, not in government offices. They do desecrate government offices.
You believe in democracy. You believe in the rights of everyone.
And the separation of powers.
And the separation of powers. Do you believe in Liberia that people who are not straight, talking about gays, now in our new world order, people are all over the world clamoring that they do
same-sex marriage?
Yeah, same-sex.
What's your...
And talking about that. If you were president of Liberia, will you support
What's your position?
Well, laws are made by the legislature. And I will enforce every law that the legislature will make. You talk about democracy, which is the will of the majority. This is something that you have to educate the public about and hold. One of the things I intend to do is my first month in government to hold a national conference on all of the things that we need to do to move this country forward. I think Cllr had a good idea on that national conference. And myself, I spent nights because I wanted to speak because in 1998 I was young. Those days I used to stay up and do research, and we presented papers. There was no report of that conference. People came from America, from all over the world, to present. I think it's not something that an individual can control. We need to hold a national discourse on all of these things. And sometime yesterday we were in LPP meeting, we were holding meeting on certain things, and our first people were angry with each other. After we took time to learn everything, Then we say, oh, why are we forcing? We're all saying the same thing. I strongly believe that there should be a national discourse.
Majority democracy dictates that majority carries the day.
Yeah.
But the minorities also have rights. And their rights need to be protected as well.
I agree, but it has to go in law. Everywhere, even in America. I lived there, 1990 in the States, the former city mayor of New York, Scott, was a gay. And of course, a culture shock for me when I went to study human rights advocacy. They had gays and lesbian student association. Then they had all the jobs for them and all that. They tried to march in the city of New York. They were stoned. Yeah, police had to come to the aid. Today in New York, after many years of education and discourse, debates, papers, and all that, they do marry. I was in Cambridge on the night that Massachusetts agreed to, after a long time, there were all these closet gays and lesbians. Even the dormitory I live in as a scholar, resident scholar, the professor of theology that was there, and the woman who controlled the place were actually closet lesbians. They were afraid to reveal themselves. When as soon as they passed the law, the first marriage that took place in Cambridge, I actually went to see it, to see the reality. I saw men and men getting married. 1 minute after midnight at Union Church there. And the next day we saw the two people with their rings. So even in America, it has been a gradual process. And I believe that it cannot be imposed on any society. In America, there are still some states who...
Yeah, it's not working.
Yeah. So I believe it's something that, people have rights, but the society has been taking along to reduce hostility. Like in New York, it was 20 people, they don't stone them anymore.
What do you do about crime? Crime rate very high. What do you do if you're president of Liberia? What do you do to curtail the rate of crime?
Yeah,
someone just posted that warning people that don't ride keke at about 7, 8 o'clock at night from red light. It is very dangerous. It's a warning. What do you do about the high crime rate?
Okay, so we have police patrol all through 24 hours, right? And you need to have, police well equipped, and then you strongly deal with community policing. Everything I say is from experience. Me and the current Chief Justice, CNU, went to America representing the bar in 1997. And one of the places we went to was Johnstown in Pennsylvania. There were 49 police officers there in a town that had a population of more than 100,000 people. And the police chief explained to us, look, community policing is the most effective way to fight crime. So we ended this place was a big camp for drugs. Drugs were just coming. So when the community policing and they're having communication gadgets that work with the police and then vehicles. So he said, look, people used to come from Philadelphia, from Harrisburg, from Pittsburgh, the big towns, and come. When they work well with the police, with the community, as soon as one drug baron enters an apartment complex, they follow him. They know he's going to apartment number 8. As soon as they happen, they call the police. This guy from Philadelphia has brought drugs. He entered apartment number 8. In 10 minutes, the police are knocking at the door. And with the cooperation of the community, they ended narcotic drugs in Johnstown. There is no way police can effectively fight crime if it does not make the people friend of the police. And then you have to give them vehicles and everything to work. And now, because the people are more than the number of police. So we supply all the logistics. I've been chairman of the police civilian review board, so I know the challenge of the police. I want them to police director said, no fuel. I'm just going to gas stations and crediting. So government has to be, funding the police for effective policing. I teach at the police academy at times. I know the challenges of the police. I know the only way to maintain collective security of the country is to have an effective police force. I'll make sure there's an effective police force.
His name is Councillor Tiawan Saye Gongloe. He's our prime guest. There are other questions I'm receiving. I just thought to plug this one in, then we go to the lines quickly. Says, good morning, Kelvin. The guest is talking about education as one of his pillars to build this country on. But I want him to please tell me whether the country's constitution will be taught in both government and private schools as prescribed in the same constitution. Thomas T. Vanwe.
Well, you know, it just says it is government obligation under Article 6 of the Constitution to educate Liberian children and to eliminate illiteracy. It doesn't talk about private schools. So, what the government used to do under President Tubman Talbot was to subsidize the private schools. Say, you are doing our work, so let's help you do it. And that's what I would do.
Okay, so you can pick up dual currency quickly? Yeah. Your children can come in?
Yeah, dual currency, because I want to come in. Just speak on dual currency.
You see, the first degree I did was economics. And what the dual currency is hurting Liberia a lot. How is it hurting Liberia? When there's inflation in the US dollars, ordinarily, even without inflation in the in US dollars, the exchange rate between the US dollar and Liberian dollar, because there's always a short supply of US dollars here, and we have more Liberian dollar, keeps going up. So when there is inflation in the US dollar, we in Liberia face double inflation.
Okay.
So it increases. So I strongly believe there should be one currency.
One currency, which one? Liberian dollar?
Liberia.
Okay, so
Liberia.
we get rid of the US dollar.
Yeah, all the countries in the region.
Okay. Sports, very important. Well,
I want comprehensive sport. For me, sport is in my 10-point agenda for better Liberia youth empowerment. Culture, sports, and when I mean sports, comprehensive sports. We too need to go to Olympic for cricket, for boxing, for swimming, for jumping. Maybe I'll go to Olympic. Maybe I'll do that. For floating,
and you watch the Swimming Olympics.
For track and field and all of that. It used to happen here. They used to have Liberian LNOs.
They're still here.
Yeah, but
Liberian National Olympic.
Yeah, they used to come.
They said that by Philibert Brown.
When I was in school, they used to come and train us in every field of sport. You know, so we can't have football, basketball, volleyball.
Basketball is dead.
That's the only thing we have in this country. You look like an old basketball player, you know. So that you talk. But and we have this our Liberian unique sport called kickball. I think that only Liberian. But when Nelson Sierra Leone, all of the sports in Africa, they even go to ice hockey. So we need to expose our young people to all of the sports that exist in the world, so they can have chances to go to Olympic too, to represent Liberia. And we need to have entertainment. We need to build theaters. In Ghana, Accra, they have theater where people go to performing art. Amen. We need to do that. We need to reopen the cultural center. Have you seen the new cultural center that was being built by government President Sele? It's in Marshall. Completely abandoned. It doesn't. It's like a joke. We need to build our national cultural center. We need to build cultural centers in all of the countries. These are the things that will promote tourism.
Well, you remind me of a song, a popular Liberian song that says, we got culture ambassador, but we ain't got culture center. Okay, so we'll take calls, Kelvin.
Yeah, so let's take calls. The lines are hot already. So the numbers are 0770-1051, 0770-1051. I repeat, 0770-1051, 0770-1051. The MTN line is 886 0886-050507, 0886-050507, 0886-050507 are the numbers you can call us on. Let's hear from the Low Star, the MTN line first. Okay, somebody's calling me. Yeah, okay, all right. Good morning. Your name, where you call from? Go ahead. Your live quickly, please.
call for the 13.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Tell me, for each time I listen to President Gongloe on the radio, he always says the Liberian people are very suspect on the leadership. This is a man that said he wants to become president for Liberia. But tell me, as many times as the Gongloe travel out of Liberia, the only thing he goes with is boom, and then he comes back with a big boom. I respect President Gongloe as a state president. But President Gongloe is no different for Joseph Bata. Joseph Bata said his government for I don't know how many years, he has nothing to show the Liberian people. They see as President Gongloe. He spent a long time in government, but has nothing to show for the Liberian people too. So he's not different from Bata. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so very much. Let's hear from the next caller on the line. On the orange line, let's hear from it right here. Good morning, your name and where you call from. Let's pick it up from right here. Good morning. Good morning. Yes.
Good morning.
Yes, go ahead.
This is when it comes in surprise. I'm phoning from forward. Good morning to the studio guest.
Good morning.
I say my revolutionary greeting to him. But I have two concerns. The first one is there is the free tuition and the issue of what we being paid by this government is one of their priorities that the government puts for. When Councillor Gongloe, they won't say Gongloe, they think that if he purposeful to become the president of this country, that's one. Number two, if for any reason they didn't make it to the second round of election, they happy that the round of election between Ambassador Joseph Wakai and that of the current president John Monrovia. Which side do you think the Liberian people should win?
Thank you. Let's hear from the next caller right here. Good morning, your name and where you call from. Okay, yeah, I hope you're writing down this one. Yeah. Yes, go ahead quickly. After you will take the last one because he has to go. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. My name is Ibrahim Balaya. I joined you guys for the tour this year, number 10. Let me extend greetings to Councillor Tiawan Gongloe presidential candidate. And quickly, I think all of what the councillor has said on your platform, and these are things that the government is currently doing, and I think you will not know when it talks about peace and security under the administration. The political democratic credential of the government is very strong. Evidence to that is visitation of various political party headquarters that were very peaceful, and more especially to the really established movements about democratic change. And nobody agitated in terms of violence, just about education. And the government is making some major effort in education, like giving access to students for them to have free tuition in public university, the declaration of free tuition for those in public university, talking about the issue of what event, and talking about here, the government has been making some major effort in constructing of new hospitals, the 14 military hospitals, the Bamboo hospital, and provide more opportunities for that or increasing the salary. So there are massive infrastructure development on the Uyap administration. This is why we want on the Uyap to be re-elected, because all what the government is saying, I think that the government is doing. So I want to ask everybody to support the president instead of him coming up all of these ideas, because it's all return some of people to this and salary have public officials.
Okay. We have to manage the time. Thank you very much. We have to manage the time. We are allotting every person 1 minute. Let's hear from this caller. Good morning. Go ahead, your last caller, 1 minute, please.
Thank you. My name is Let me appreciate and big brother and councillor now for your articulation. Not that time is going to really the power. For at this stage, right, Labrador and across you are all into councillor government that these letters about George Julia and others is that what because if you follow the company, this country, right, assistant that way the rescue on it is that you saw that people were all in here to welcome you. But I think that we should put ourselves together, right? It's not divine the up with your foot. That other job don't get something about our back. I think that now this left man just got to leave our country because our country is going back more as people you got other little small things. He just said that we had to rest something. And the comment and say that we have them at tomorrow, they want to be the different people. So these are a lot of people who understand issue, right? So the best thing to do is that all that money come together, this kid, so we move just, you got to all the other young people that want to be married, you know, we had a short, you got to lack the tenacity, you lack the ability to go on the country, you lack the ability to speak to the country. That is why you saw they go Monday, they go Monday, back everywhere now.
Thank you. Your 1 minute has ended. Thank you so much. Let's go to the councillor. He has a schedule and to be able to respond to this concern.
Open Saturday. You know, but so the call of this morning are being united by the CDC people, and they are talking on themselves, mostly opinion. But somebody talk about educational thing and say it's happening. The president makes it a private thing that he's helping to pay wire fee. When I went to school, 6th grade, 9th grade, 12th grade, my parents didn't pay. It was government obligation. I was just watching Ghana TV yesterday. It's government obligation to pay wire fee. So you don't impose it on the parents to become a humanitarian. Under my government, the government will pay wire fee. It will not go to the family. And then we'll continue. They will improve the free education system at a higher level and make education at a lower level, primary, elementary, and secondary education totally free and well resourced, with people having all the educational materials to teach and students having everything, including textbooks, to go to school so that education becomes very effective here. Somebody say, me and Baka work in the government, it seems that I worked for 4 years under Amos Sawyer and then 5 years under President Senate. So we don't have the same. And somebody talk about huge crowd. People will be surprised in this country. The people we are saying, they say, oh, some people say that we are and Baka. But less than 5% of the total population of Liberia actually belong to political parties. It's the silent majority that decide the fate of politicians in this country. And they may just decide in a way that people will be surprised. You know, so they can be saying, anybody when I come from America the first time, there were buses of people that came to see me because it was organized. That came to see me at Robert's Fee and escorted me to town. There were big programs. So all these things should not indicate anybody's chance of winning. Putting your partisans in the street, putting t-shirts on them, does not indicate that you win, in my view. But let me say, okay, tomorrow I'll be calling some of my friends to a meeting at Lutheran compound at 3 o'clock. Just old friends from the University of Liberia discussing about these things the other way forward. That's what we'll be doing. So we are not putting big people in the street, but we are moving from place to place. Myself on the.
And the final question was: should you not surface in a runoff? If there's a runoff, who do you support?
We are still far. We are still far from there. Because if somebody comes and say, just extreme example, when I become president, I will kill all the albinos. I will not support you. You say something very weird. And 3 days to election, somebody could say something very. You know, sometimes elections are lost just the last week of election. So we don't know who's going to be in the runoff. We still have to see. So when we reach a bridge, we'll cross it. We'll see who will be in the runoff. All right? So that's my answer to that.
Okay. Thank you so very much. His name is Councillor.
Let me again appeal to all the partisans of the various parties in the enthusiasm not to undermine our peace and security, to maintain a friendly attitude, because in this race there's no question that I'm the uniter, I'm the reconciler, because I'm the only one that can go to all the political party headquarters without any issue.
When you complete your final lap?
I will go around today. We're having a meeting with the Minister of Justice today, all of the standard bearers. I have a meeting at the ministerial complex at 11 o'clock after leaving from here. And so I will go to some of the political party offices are difficult to find. But I've sent people around to check for them. There's one on the old road here, so I will go there. I'll go around to
your political party easy to find?
It's right opposite the Philadelphia Church, and plenty of flags are right there. And he's the old Africa office, so everybody knows. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks so very much. His name is Councillor Tiawan Saye Gongloe. He's a candidate for the nation's highest seat, the presidency. He's come to tell us what he will do if elected and why you should elect him. And it was great having you. We look forward to more of this.
I'm the candidate of peace, unity, and reconciliation and accountability.
Thank you so very much. We'll take our